All right, what's up, y'all? I'm getting a little winded. I've been making a lot of videos back to back, so this might be my last one for today, and I'll probably make some more tomorrow. But this one I'm gonna talk about. Do Michael Jordan. He's a commonly known ISTP. Pretty much, like I've heard some people try to say he's something else. Like I don't know. Sometimes people are natural contraries, but other times I guess I can respect it if it's an educated opinion. Might just be your opinion, man. Like I respect that. But for most part, we all know, most people know that he's an ISTP. If you've done any research, he's like one of the most well-known ISTPs. Um, but I think this interview is good because I remember watching this a long time ago. It showed more like what he's like outside of basketball. Because Michael Jordan's a real private person. Like he's known for being real private. He don't tell you like think about it. How much do you know about Michael Jordan's personal life? Like you can go look. You don't hear nothing about it. He kept it strictly basketball, so which is smart. But they always say he's a private person, which ISTPs were private. He's like a more extroverted ISTP. Um, like like subtypes and stuff. You go in different stages of your life, you can change subtypes, like pretty much. Uh, so he's like more extra because he has to be in the camera, and I take all that in consideration. Sometimes people say that like y'all don't think I take that into consideration. Like I know that. I know that they're in front of the camera. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm taking that into account when I'm looking at them. Like are they saying that for the camera or are they just saying that because usually it's never just them saying something for the camera. It's usually a little bit of like it's describing who they actually are and they're saying that they kind of tailing it for the camera, but it still says something about them. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes people don't get there. They think I don't know, man. A lot of people they think everything is fake. Like like they think everything like there's a lot of fake things out there, but it's like some of them just they take a little too far and they think that look everything they see on TV is fake. Like there's some real stuff on like like these people are not actors, you know what I'm saying? Like Mark Jordan's not a paid actor, so I should be able to tell like, even actors, like you can still tell, man. Like y'all did like certain little details and stuff. So let's keep that in mind. But for the most part we know I've heard people try to say he's other types like they're kind of skeptical about it, but like it's just super obvious, man. I'm sorry, I'm not trying. I'm trying to be open minded, but it definitely is pretty obvious. But let's just watch this. See what it's talking about.
Games in the world, and among the most dominant and gifted athletes ever to play professional sports. But how does a man who has been called the most competitive person alive still compete when there are no more games?
Speaking of that, uh, we're competitive. ISTPs tend to be some of the most competitive people. ISTPs and ISTPs are surprisingly competitive. Like ISTPs, you wouldn't expect them to be competitive, but they are. And ISTPs, same thing sometimes. But yeah, that competitiveness is an ISTP thing. Now, keep in mind, Michael Jordan not the best example. Like when you talk about I've heard stories of him doing terrible things that I wouldn't look at as a role model. Like you look at him kind of as a role model, but him as a person, I've heard he done some questionable things. So that don't got nothing to do with an ISTP. That's just him. You know what I'm saying? That being said, if it's even true, because some of that could just be people. I never heard his side of it all the time necessarily, or he's not like went into detail, but a lot of that could just be people saying, making up rumors because he's a celebrity. People making up rumors about them all the time. So keep that in mind too. I've heard him doing some real mean things, and also I could think maybe like for him to do that, it would probably be because he's spoiled by the spotlight. When you think about it, he's been in the spotlight a long time. Nobody's really gonna hold him accountable because he's Michael Jordan. So it's like I wouldn't be surprised at him doing some bad things. That don't got nothing to do with me though. I'll tell you that. Like a lot of ISPs don't necessarily act like do something you might hear Michael Jordan doing. He's known to be pretty like some of the stuff I don't know could have been taken out of context too. But yeah, I've had that happen to myself. Like people take stuff I do and say out of context. But let's see.
To play, no more championships to win. It's a question Jordan tries to answer in his new book, Driven from Within. Tonight, in his first major television interview since he left the spotlight 2.5 years ago, he talks candidly and sometimes painfully about the game he loves, the business empire he has built, the murder of his father, his problems with gambling, and his hopes for a quieter, more private life. I've heard you say that now that you're retired, you're trying to take your life back. Who are you trying to take your life back from?
Too. family always, well, my sister always telling me that I remind her of like a light skinned Michael Jordan or something. I got a lot of his mannerisms, and it's just not like you'll have the same mannerisms as somebody with the same type a lot of times because y'all are kind of going through a similar process in your minds with certain things. So that's very common. Um, my sister always telling me I got a lot of his mannerisms. I mean, I'm also about the same height as him, same size as him, stuff like that. I kind of talk like him. I don't try to do none of this. It's just something like, it's just all natural. Like, and I'll tell you, Michael Jordan also kind of like my dad was an ESTP. My dad kind of has the same exact build as Michael Jordan. So he's not 6'6". I'm 6'5". My dad was about 6 feet. He had the same body type. I remember when I was a kid seeing Michael Jordan on TV the first time. First thing I thought was like, that looked like my dad. He walked just like my dad does. He got the same. My dad's an ESTP. He walked just like my dad. It's kind of weird. This is some weird observation. So, anyways.
From the public, for years, you find yourself doing things for them, appease them. When you're out in the public, and they come up, they want to meet, greet, say hello, sign autographs. But I want them to understand this is my time. This is not your time. This is my time now.
Oh yeah, this is mostly about when he had to set boundaries for fans. I remember hearing stuff about that as well. He's had to set boundaries for fans coming to him wanting his autograph all the time. Now he's been known to wave off fans and be mean to fans. This dude is the most popular athlete in the world. He had to probably set boundaries. He probably sound like something he had to do because he probably had situations where he bent over backwards for people even he didn't want to as far as signing autographs. I can understand that. He could have taken it too far. I don't really know. I'm not going to speak on that. But from what I've heard, it sounds like him being an introvert and being overwhelmed by like all the attention 24/7. That's probably why his life is so private. You don't see his life in the camera and spotlight. Outside of after basketball, he stayed pretty low key. When you look at him, versus somebody like Shaq. Shaq on TV all the time after he got out. He's an extrovert for sure. But yeah, that's all that is. Introvert, like you get an introvert that appears to be an extrovert. He kind of looks like an extrovert. He's not, though, I can tell. But that's how they can get real moody and stuff. Like they can start getting annoyed by people when they've been around people too much. So
for almost 2 decades, Michael Jordan belonged to his fans, millions of them who watched from the sidelines as he led the Chicago Bulls to 6 NBA championships.
The Bulls win! They win!
He became the ultimate sports icon, one of the best-known athletes in the world who literally defied gravity.
Oh, a spectacular move!
There were times when I would watch you play, either in person or see a highlight reel, and you would elevate for your shot. I mean, it was almost like you had another gear up there, like you were flying.
Well, I mean, we all fly. Once you leave the ground, you fly. Some people fly longer than others.
Some people fly higher, too.
And higher.
I see so much of myself in him. I ain't gonna lie. That's why I'm laughing. I talk like that, man. When people ask me weird questions, that's his wit. I can see his wit at play. He thought of that real quick. But what was I gonna say? The whole defying gravity thing, like we got more science and like we got more understanding of what Michael Jordan was doing now, but back then it was so people didn't understand it. But we know now that the reason why he was able to have such body control is because he had a real strong core. Like he can jump high. If you can jump high and you got a strong core, you're gonna have a lot of body control in the air, which is why he had so much hang time. So I know that because I'm a certified personal trainer too, so I understand how the body works very well. That's actually what that is, but that's a whole other topic.
As well.
Today, Jordan is still flying, but at lower altitudes. We caught up with him recently in Las Vegas at the annual Michael Jordan Senior Flight School. It's a 4-day training camp where middle-aged guys who love the game pay $15,000 to get the full Michael Jordan experience, to play ball with him, to get fouled by him, and to get abused by him.
What does he say to you on the court?
Come on, it's like playing against my son. You're a midget. I mean, he's just very funny.
Also, too, some of the stuff they criticized Jordan on, like he said like something that sounded kind of mean. I think he was actually joking a lot of those times. Like he said stuff to Charles Barkley that people would say, "Oh man, that sounds so mean." But I'm thinking like I think he might have just been joking. His persona where you think he's always serious. I understand because I have developed that persona within certain social settings of myself, where people are used to me just being serious all the time. So when I do finally crack a joke or something, they think I'm being serious or they try to take it too serious. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan has that serious sort of demeanor, so it's like I can see he got a sense of humor, man. He be playing around a lot of time, dude. Like seriously, I can see right through it.
Mouse in the house with you?
Mouse in the house.
Come on, mouse in the house.
Anything to try to humiliate you.
This is funny.
With competition like this against guys who play mostly on the weekends, it's surprising that Jordan even broke a sweat, but he did. Playing with intensity, pulling on shorts, and talking trash.
I know you're looking at the ball.
His whole mystique is very similar to like Michael Jackson's mystique when he was alive. Michael Jackson's an ISTP, and you can look at the two, and they have a very similar mystique. I think it's just that mysteriousness, like so private and mysterious, like something about the ISP. It's like we're mysterious, and like if we're good at something, you won't know how we do it because we won't really. It's not that we're trying to this. Intentionally, we're just not out there with it like that. So it's like people spend so much time to figure out how Michael Jordan did stuff he was doing. We kind of understand it better now. I hear, but people think him like he's a god or something, man. But he might have, like, in a sense, he might have been more spiritually connected. Maybe not in a. This might got nothing to do with type, but yeah, he might have just. Some people just got that it factor, man. And I think those people that got the it factor are more connected spiritually, like to God, higher power than. Let's get back to it.
You're thinking about it.
He also teaches them what he did so well in the NBA, bending the rules without getting caught by the referee.
Watch Jordan's left hand here as he gives Russell the push. Referee can't see that.
We asked him to demonstrate.
If somebody is coming at you and trying to, what do you do?
Idea of bending the rule might be introverted thinking, but it's not very relevant to try to type them because every NBA player does that. You either like they teach you moves to do in game where you can bend the rules. Coaches do that. I remember even in football, I was taught stuff like the rules. So I don't know if that's a valid, you know what I'm saying? But it's possible. It's not very relevant. I'm like, yeah.
I'm basically going to use his physical aggressiveness against him. So if he's reaching a touch, I use it.
You can get away with that.
If you do it good enough, you can.
And what about if I've got the ball and you pull on jerseys?
No.
I mean, you can.
See, I can steal you. Or I can hold you from doing things.
If I want to go this, yeah.
Simple, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't jerk on you too hard, did I?
No, I'm all right, man.
You pay $15,000, I gotta let you win sooner or later.
Like he's in front of people. I think he still thinks he's an introvert. But you can see like social skills, like being comfortable in a group and stuff like that, and being comfortable talking, having good social skills is a skill. It's like they call them social skills because it's actually a skill you can work. Anybody can work on. Like you can be an introvert and have great social skills. Like be comfortable around people. It doesn't always mean you're shy. He's not a shy person. He's just I think he's just an introvert. I think he's anyways, we can get back to that later. When there's more examples pop up, I'll go on it.
There have to be people closer.
Okay,
in today's society, get the chance to spend. Me is a right and understanding.
Chicago White Sox.
For a competitive junkie like me, golf is a great solution because it smacks you in the face every time you think you have accomplished something. That to me is taking over a lot of that energy and that competitiveness for basketball.
At the height of his stardom in the NBA, Michael Jordan walked away from a game he conquered to a game that conquered him. He retired from basketball in 1993 and tried his hand at baseball with the Chicago White Sox. Over the course of his one full season in the minors, he struck out 114 times and made 11 errors. Most would consider that a failure, but for Jordan it was just another challenge.
So you didn't consider your experience?
He just got bored. Sometimes ESTPs do that too. Like we get bored with doing the same thing, I think, after a while, and then we try to spice it up, try something different. You know what I'm saying? We like to challenge ourselves, stuff like that. That's how I think that was, personally.
In baseball, a failure.
No, by no means.
But people would look at those numbers, as you would say, and say, hey, man, you couldn't cut it.
I feel
but,
myself
I mean, that's
things like that.
people.
Try to switch it up. I try to switch it up and do different things sometimes, man. You see, I'm into a lot of things myself. Maybe it's not the same way he's done it, but like I'm multi-talented. I'm a multi-talented person. So like, yeah, similar mindset. So if he didn't have time to really get good at baseball like he could have, I mean, I heard he wasn't bad at it though eventually, but he didn't have. That's a lot of demand to be pro baseball and basketball player. So yeah.
But perception of what standard is, and I wasn't expecting myself to be, Babe Ruth or Barry Bonds or anyone like that. I was trying to understand and play the game, enjoy the game, see if my skills could compete on that level.
His newest testing ground is motorcycle racing. He sponsors a team and enjoys speeding around the track at up to 150 miles an hour.
What does that sound like to you? That sounds like the stereotypical ISTP motorcycle stereotype. They say that we tend to have motorcycles and stuff, and we tend to like motorcycles. That's an ISTP. It's just extroverted sensing thing. Come on, man. Like, that's a great ISTP title example.
Is that about an adrenaline rush? Is it? I mean, because it's dangerous, Michael.
Sure, a lot of things are dangerous. I like motorcycles. I like speed. That to me is a rush.
Jordan's.
He likes adrenaline rush. That's extroverted sensing. Extroverted sensing. STPs, we like adrenaline rushes. We tend to thrive on excitement. So, especially ESTPs, but ISTPs can also fit that umbrella as well. Under that umbrella as well, which is what it sounds like to me.
Seems to live his life on the edge, knowing that it could all end at any moment. In 1993, his...
Wait a minute, let me rewind a little bit. See, this is something that maybe people don't... Michael, they see...
Motorcycle racing. He sponsors a team and enjoys speeding around the track at up to 150 miles an hour. Is that about an adrenaline rush? Is it? I mean, because it's dangerous, Michael.
Sure, a lot of things are dangerous. I like motorcycles. I like speed. That to me is...
And he's right. A lot of things are dangerous. Anything can be dangerous. Like driving every day is dangerous. Like I understand his perspective on that. That's what he's pretty much saying. So that's how he looks at it. It's like introverted thinking kind of philosophy and out a little bit. Like you might as well live your life. You know what I'm saying? You can't be scared to, live. You know what I'm saying? Like understand. That's how I actually look at it too. I agree with that.
There's a rush.
Jordan seems to live his life on the edge, knowing that it could all end at any moment. In 1993, his father, James Jordan, his first coach and closest confidant, was robbed and murdered at random in North Carolina. His death must have been a terrible blow to you.
The thing that I looked at, the death of my father, unfortunately, it happened at the hands of another human being, which, in essence, that's very difficult to deal with, just the notion of being able to kill someone. But I had him for 32 years, and he taught me a lot in 32 years. You know how many kids get that opportunity? Very few, in today's society, get the chance to spend that much time with their parents and get that type of influence.
Jordan says his mother, Dolores, and his late father were his biggest role models, hardworking, generous, and disciplined. He says fans should look closer to home for inspiration, rather than looking to big-name athletes for direction.
We can give impressions, we can give examples, but to institute and implement those, there have to be people closer to them to see that individual, see those kids day in, day out.
And for those people...
He's just being political right here. This is kind of what the camera did. I'm not saying he's lying. He's not lying. I mean, I think he really thinks this, but he's not really... I mean, it could, maybe, I don't know. Y'all might point something out. Like somebody watching this might notice something based on some of this.
Who've criticized you for not being more outspoken on political and social issues.
Okay, this is actually
perhaps would like to see you be the kind of black iconic figure that, say, Muhammad Ali was in his day, or Arthur Ashe, or Jackie Robinson.
It's a heavy duty to try to do everything and please everybody. My job was to go out there and play the game of basketball as best I can and provide entertainment to everybody who wanted to watch the game of basketball. You know, obviously people may not agree with that. And once again, I can't live for what everybody's impressions of what I should.
And he 100% right, man. I agree with that. But all that is right there, I can see that introverted thing outweighing his extroverted feeling. That happens to us a lot, man. Sometimes us as ISTPs, we'll have people trying to put these sort of social demands on us and stuff. It's like we don't like necessarily have to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't like people do that either. But that's what that sounds like pretty much. Pretty simple to see for me personally. That's just introverted thinking outweighing his extroverted feeling. That's how he came to that conclusion. Like, that's how it usually occurs with us. So, yeah.
Doing what I shouldn't do.
One stain on Jordan's otherwise clean image was the allegation that he had a compulsive gambling problem. The NBA cleared him in 1993 after conducting 2 investigations. But today, Jordan admits he's made some reckless choices at the gambling table with his money.
Yeah, I've gotten myself into situations where I would not walk away, and I've pushed the envelope. Is that compulsive? Yeah, it depends on how you look at it.
Pushing the envelope, that's an ISTP. We tend to do that sometimes. That's just us trying to get a rush out of things. And that's our introverted thinking and our extroverted sensing. Pushing the envelope. We're trying to see how much we can get out of something. And it's not like necessarily us being disingenuous, but that's just him having fun. And he starts saying how much he can squeeze out of it. That's typical. We do that a lot. I've never gambled, so I don't really know nothing about that, but I understand. I can see that in different ways of how it is. I've done stuff like that myself. I ain't gonna lie. Just being honest. That's an ISTP thing right there.
If you're willing to jeopardize your livelihood and your family, then yeah.
And you're not willing to do that?
No.
Your father said that Michael doesn't have a gambling problem. He has a competitive problem.
Yeah.
What did he mean by that?
I want to win. I want to go out on a limb and win. And sometimes that can take you past the stage that you probably should take a step back from.
I can see how the way he talks, he has a level of definitely emotional detachment. Real chill, calm, cool. Similar to myself, I'd say, but that whole emotional detachment kind of speaking tone is just us not getting our emotions involved and like just low extroverted feeling, pretty much. That's all it is.
That sometimes I don't look at that line. I just step over that line. It's a very embarrassing thing. It's one of the things that you totally regret. So,
that's the extroverted sensing. He said he don't look over the line. He look at the line. He steps over the line. That's extroverted sensing, pretty much. Oh shoot. But that's an example of extroverted sensing.
I look at yourself in the mirror and say, I was stupid. I was really stupid. But we all are.
So he steps over the line, then he looks himself in the mirror. That's introverted thinking. You know what I'm saying? Which pretty much when we use our extroverted. Now I understand from that perspective, I can see why some people might say he's an ESTP. I've heard that, but I don't know, man. I don't think he's the ESTP. But I think he's an extroverted ISTP pretty much. He's an ISTP who happens to be a little more extroverted, pretty much. He uses TI first, I think. Still.
I have to be able to look in that mirror and say that you're stupid.
Perhaps Jordan's biggest professional failure was his tenure with the Washington Wizards. In 2000, he became a part owner and top manager of the team, and then decided he could make a bigger contribution by going back on the court. Although he had moments of greatness, his knees began to fail him, and he announced he was done as a player. Soon after, the Wizards unceremoniously fired him.
Did you see getting fired coming?
No. If that was the case, then obviously I wouldn't have went back to play, because I felt like I played injured. I went through surgery, and I did the things that a lot of the young kids and did not do, and I didn't have to do it. But I did it with the benefit of trying to help an organization get back on its feet. And the gratitude that I was being given was, your services no one wanted or needed. So I felt like I was used in a sense. But we all been in a situation where we've been used, and we regret what what you learn.
And after his long career, Jordan can't keep silent about the state of basketball today. He says that too many young players are overpaid and overindulged, affecting their work ethic and hurting the game he loves so much.
But the kids today, they're being given things that they haven't earned. And I don't want to seem like an old school, traditional, bitter type of guy. You ask me.
That's typical. When you get older, you start noticing stuff like that, I think. Because we digress in a lot of ways, society, as time progresses. We tend to digress in some ways. Like, I understand that. He's older than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting to that point a little bit, though, myself.
And I'm telling you, I think the game is being cheated because of the success that's being given prior to them earning it. Simple as that.
Michael Jordan is not ready to walk away from basketball completely. He hopes to own an NBA team someday, and while he knows he'll never play again, he's cocky enough to think he could.
At age 42, you think you could play in the NBA and make a contribution?
Oh, yeah, sure. Even though the mind, physically, I can't do it, the mind says that, yeah, I can still do it. You know, and I still think I can do it better than most in the NBA.
The sort of stuff he says, that sound like, like when he says a lot of his quotes and stuff like that are, like his like wisdom quotes and stuff, a lot of, so.
Wow, that looks so easy, doesn't it?
Tonight's special broadcast of 60 Minutes with fewer commercials.
So, okay. That was all right. It wasn't like, it didn't go in depth, super in depth. I'm going to try to find some better interviews that maybe Jordan actually, like, because he always keeps a distance from like getting super deep on like kind of person he is. Because he's his life pretty private. He keeps it to strictly basketball when he's on camera. So, I mean, he's he's one of the ones we've known as ISTP for quite a long time. So it's like super obvious he's an ISTP. But I kind of do want to look some more in depth sort of interviews eventually. So this is just part one for right now. Thanks for watching.